Okay, I want to talk about a very specific subject, being one-handed opening knives and the law around them. So, um, when I say one-handed opening knives, we're talking about things like this: spiracle, or anything with a hole in it, or a thumb stud to open it with one hand. Now, one-handed knives are actually completely legal to own and carry in the UK. There are plenty of examples of one-handed opening knives. Here's a Leatherman with a one-handed opening. Same with a wave. There are other types of one-handed opening knives that are actually illegal. Butterfly knives are illegal in the UK, and switchblades, flick knives. Now, spring-assisted knives are legal. Actually, you can actually own a spring-assisted knife. This is a spring-assisted knife. This is not a flick knife. There isn't a button. I'm pushing on the. This is a part of the blade, so it's not a button, and the spring takes over. So that's a spring-assisted knife. Those are legal. I actually just want to make a counter argument, because I really do feel that the government are going to try and ban one-handed opening knives. So I've got an argument against that for when it comes round, because it is going to come round. You might think they're stupid, but a lot of things people thought they would never ban or try to get banned, they ban it or licensed it. Air rifles in Scotland, for example, people thought that was never going to be licensed, and now they're under license. So I don't want these knives banned or licensed. So these knives are designed to be opened with one hand, because it's easier. If you're doing a job, one hand's busy, the other hand used to open your knife. Now the potential argument for banning these knives is it's quicker to access them, as that's part of the design. So people might assume that you could pull this out of your pocket, open the blade, and stab someone a lot quicker. That's not why they're designed. I mean, some of the combat knives are, but these aren't combat knives, these are tools. It's to make it easier for the user, it's not to make it easier for you to stab someone. However, there are other knives other than these that are actually not designed. There are knives that are not designed to be opened with one hand. You can still open, but yeah, you can still open them with one hand. Now, I will actually say there are some countries that have banned one-handed opening knives, Denmark being one of them. So this is illegal to own in Denmark. So is this. Yeah, the Leatherman wave. Can you imagine being in Denmark and not being allowed to own a Leatherman wave? Now, I honestly do feel sorry for the Danish. That's the only country I can think of at the moment, but I honestly do feel that the UK is heading this way. Actually, look at that. It looks like the Leatherman has got a spectacle blade. That actually looks pretty cool, don't you think? Anyway, that was completely unintentional. Anyway, aside from knives like these, and Leathermans, and Bokers, and all these other modern knives, think about this. This is also a one-handed opening knife. This is just a utility knife, a box cutter knife, a carpet fitter knife, decorating knife, whatever. These are all one-handed opening. And these kind of need to be one-handed opening so the tradesman can do his job. I mean, could you imagine holding up a piece of wallpaper and having to put your hand down and use both hands to open it? It's just going to make the tradesman's life a lot harder. So, banning one-handed opening knives. Well, what about these? You really can't ban these. I mean, these really are needed. You cause a lot of problems by banning. Excuse me. You cause a lot of problems by banning these. Let's have a look at something else. This is a Buck 112 folding hunter. This is quite an older design of lock knife. These are very popular. This pattern is very popular. There's no thumb stud. There's no flipper. There's no hole. Right. So you're not meant to be able to open this with one hand, but you still can. It's difficult doing it this way, but it can still be done. Not only that, if you hold it by the blade, you can still open this with one hand. If you see how fast that is there as well. Okay, so maybe the ones with the holes are slightly faster, but it's really not by much. And even then, if you think about it, you know, take this out of your pocket. Really not that much of a difference, is there? There is also other patterns of one-handed opening knives. Now this is never really intended as a one-handed opening knife. The friction folder is one of the oldest pocket knives around. Obviously not this one specifically, but friction folder patterns. If one-handed knives were to be banned, people will be at a huge loss because modern knives are expensive. I mean, especially Spyderco. 99% of Spyderco folding knives are one-handed opening, except the ones that are meant for sales in countries like Denmark, where you can't carry or you can't even own a one-handed opening knife. They actually do make a model for that. It's called the Spy DK. It still has the hole, but it's smaller, so it's designed so you can't open it one hand. Most people are still able to do it, which is unfortunate because a lot of Danes are probably getting in a lot of trouble for that. Again, Leathermans are actually quite expensive. I mean, where is it? Leatherman waves these days cost £80 to £100. Can you imagine having to hand these in for destruction at the police station because it's got one-handed opening? Most people who have Leathermans or Spydercos have more than one or two. You know, they have a whole collection. I mean, I personally have a whole collection of just Spydercos and Leathermans as well. And these all open with one hand. Same with knives like this. This is my EDC knife. This costs about £45. So it'd be very unfair if this was to be banned, just because, you know, if you, well, not even if you're idiots. I mean, you don't really hear of people attacking people with these kind of knives. I mean, really the problematic knives are box cutters and kitchen knives. Speaking of which, one-handed, you know, I don't even need to open anything, it's already open. So, you know, it's kind of one of those arguments again, you know, banning things like this won't stop people using things like this in crime. You know, these are what's used in crime, these very rarely. You know, a criminal doesn't really want to spend £45 on a Bowker or between £40 and £100 on a Spyderco, or you know, £100 on a Leatherman. You know, these people aren't spending hundreds of pounds on knives to go and stab people. You know, they're just going to take a kitchen knife at the drawer from the pound shop, or they're going to steal one from the pound shop and, you know, stick that through your ribs. So I think it's kind of silly. So this is just my counter argument to something that probably hasn't been proposed yet, but I think it will be. I've got many more videos like this planned, so do look out for them. I've got a lot of counter arguments before the argument comes up, because especially with all this increase in terrorism, I think the arguments are going to be there. Amber Rudd, I think she's the Home Secretary, wants to ban the online sale of knives. Now I think this is absolutely crazy. So these things must be countered, otherwise a responsible user like you and I will be punished for nothing. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoy that. I'll see you next time.